Hi everyone. Well, ooh, I kind of like this look. Kind of looks like I have a halo over my head. Yeah, that's not right. So, some young people in the small city of Kingston in Ontario, some Queen's University students might have a party. Might have just thrown the most expensive party they've ever thrown. So for those of you in the United States who are all open and you're not wearing masks anymore, you're not social distancing, you're able to go to movie theaters, that's not the case here in Canada. That is completely not the case here in Canada. We still have social distancing, we still have masking bylaws, we still have gathering bylaws. And one of those bylaws is you can only gather with 25 people outdoors for anything. Right now, 25 people. Well, on the 4th of July, for some reason in Kingston, Ontario, not Canada Day, probably because it's the weekend, our Canada Day wasn't on the week, I don't know. Some Queen's University students held a party. And unfortunately for them, there were a few more people than 25. In fact, there were several hundred people there. Partying. And I have no problems with parties on campuses and things like that, or people getting together and having a party in your house. But this was on the street. And this isn't like a campus or anything like that. This is just a regular street with neighbors, your house next door, etc. That these three people were renting this unit. And so the neighbors have hundreds of students partying outside their house and onto their lawns and in their street, against, by the way, the regulations right now that are there. So the police have investigated, and they have photos, and contacted the three students who ran the party, who were all between the ages of 20 and 21. And they issued them summonses and told them that they have to appear in court on charges of hosting a gathering against the COVID regulations that are going on right now. And those charges face a minimum per person of a $10,000 fine and up to a $100,000 fine. Not only that, if the judge so decided, they could also face a year of jail time. Now, chances are they won't face a year of jail time. Absolutely not. You know, they're gonna, and you know what? If anything, they would face the minimum fine. That's $10,000. I couldn't afford a $10,000 fine right now, let alone if I was a student. But yeah, throwing a party against the COVID regulation. What did you think was going to happen? Maybe it's a good thing you're in school, because you need to learn more things, like common sense. What on earth did you think was going to happen throwing a party for hundreds of people? And not even in a place where you could hide. Not out in the country at a cottage or anything like that. No. Dead smack in the middle of a street in Kingston, in a residential neighborhood. I'm quite sure none of the neighbors called the police. I'm quite sure none of them decided to say, you know what? I don't like the fact there's 200 teenage college students and university students partying on my lawn and in my street. And if you look at some of the aftermath of when it was just ending, and just look at the garbage. Look at the garbage all over the place. there. I'm quite sure the neighbors were really pleased that this was going on. And what could you do other than call the police? There's 200 people there. You can't exactly go bang on the door and say, hey, I think you should turn down the music. You're going to get stomped. This could be those three students' most expensive party of their lives that they've ever thrown. Not only that, the police have shared the information of those three students being charged with the university, Queen's University in Kingston. And the Queen's University are contemplating whether this has broken the students' code of conduct, that they have to follow. A student who's convicted of a crime can be kicked out of school, and a student who breaks rules and regulations and can be kicked out of school. And so these students might not only end their academic career and face fines besides that, all to throw a party. I like a party as much as the next guy. But before I would throw a party when there's rules out there that could get me in trouble, I would consider it at least a couple times. Just think it over. Just think it over. And, play out the scenarios in your head like they used to do on Sesame Street. If I eat that cookie, what would happen? I could spoil my appetite. My mother would get angry with me. Those kind of things. Simple, basic, common sense, use your head and think of what might happen. Could I get in trouble? Could the police show up? Could I be fined? Could I lose my academic career? Could I lose thousands of dollars in order to host a party on a Sunday on 4th of July? Those are some really good questions that maybe, just maybe, those three students should have asked themselves way before throwing the party.